farming brief for you in just a few moments.
Which of these cricket ideas makes sense? The wicket, specially made for the bouncer? The ball, specially made for the leg break? The bat, specially made for the hook shot? Or the cut? Or for the sweep stroke? Or the beer, specially brewed for the can? Long life. Anything else just wouldn't be cricket.
What do you need from a parcels carrier? You need speed and reliability. You need delivery to any address in Britain, and to pay only for the weight you send, no matter how remote the address. You need to be able to send heavy parcels. You need a point of contact in every town in the UK. You need the confident support of advanced technology. And many businesses need collection from their premises, and to be able to pay by account. Only one carrier can do all this for you, with huge resources and a lifetime of experience. Royal Mail Parcels. Test our strength.
The first time you try new Sweetex Plus, you'll notice something a little different. Its taste. You see, Sweetex Plus is no ordinary sweetener. It's sweetness at its purest. Completely free of calories, and unlike most sweeteners, with no lingering aftertaste. So if all you want is the sweetness, pick up a pack of new Sweetex Plus. It's the sweeter sweetener.
Martini, the right Bianco.
Here's a wild new taste from America. Squirt, America's softest big drink.
Good evening, here's today's farming news. The president of the Milk Marketing Board, Sir Steve Roberts, said today that the board would insist that no super levy is collected from British dairy farmers until everyone has been allocated their final quota and until the super levy was being collected where due throughout the rest of Europe. Addressing the annual general meeting of the NMB, Sir Steve also referred to the changes that have been made in seasonality payments. The board could have delayed introducing the new system of payments, but this would have meant breaking faith with many producers who were in the process of changing their calving patterns to fit in with the new system. A case of Orgeski's disease of pigs was confirmed yesterday at Fittleworth in West Sussex. It's among 1,300 sows at a breeding unit. The same farm has a production unit near Littlehampton, and there's a suspected case there too. Orgeski's disease in the area came to light through a routine check at an abattoir. Farm workers in the south are to go ahead with their overtime ban later this month. Members of the union have been asked to refuse to work overtime from the 27th of August until the 1st of September. New regulations came into force yesterday governing the minimum sizes at which apples and pears may be marketed. The purpose of the regulation is to prevent the marketing of immature fruit. For example, from now until the 30th of September, no Cox's Orange Pippins apples less than 65 millimetres may be sold in this country or to any other country in the common market. Lamb prices continued to fall at Haywards Heath Market today. They were down 25 to 30 pence a kilo on last week, averaging around 147 pence. Pigs were slightly dearer and there was a good demand. Tomorrow and Thursday there's a big fruit event at Mockbeggar Farm at Higham near Rochester in Kent. It's called Fruit Focus and it's to celebrate the opening of the apple season. Mrs. Peggy Fenner MP, Secretary of State to the Ministry of Agriculture, will be there tomorrow, and the Red Devils will be parachuting in, well away from the apple trees, I'm informed. That's it for now. We're back with more farming news at around 12:15 tomorrow, and I'll see you again in a few minutes.
I've been researching a book about adoption and about adopted children, and I've talked to over 50 adopted people who feel that because they were adopted, however happy those families were, they have lost a part of themselves because they don't know who they are.
Writer Polly Toynbee joins Miriam Stoppard for Where There's Life, Wednesday at 7 on ITV.
Now it's time for company with Bishop George Reindorp, James Blomfield and Bridget Plass.
I've come to the conclusion, George, that you can't have been a very bad bishop while you were there because they've bothered to inscribe your name on the wall.
Quite right.
They inscribe all sorts of things on walls, so not necessarily good about people.
But so, your new flat that you've moved into, that is in fact in, am I right, in the parish where you started off? Do they still remember you there? Are you well liked?
Well, when I came out of the Navy, I came back to England. I was vicar for 12 years in Westminster. And as you know, I've been living in Maida Vale in a basement. And it's just over a year since Alex went to a nursing home. And so I felt, well, perhaps I could have a change. So I went to see the landlords. To my great amazement, they had wanted to exchange my underground flat with a flat in Vincent Square, bang in the middle of the parish where I was, 4 doors from the vicarage that I built. Yeah. And I was coming back just about 10 days ago, from the first time taking a service in my old church. And I was walking around that, the largest square in London as it is, where the Westminster boys play all their games. And I was thinking of all the things, you know, being Bishop of Guildford and the Navy and so on. And as I was walking along, a taxi went by me and stopped, and the chap got out, driver, came up to me, I thought to ask the way. Do you know what he said? "Hello, Vicar, where you been?" I said, do I know? Well, he said, you ought to know me. You married me 27 years ago.
And he wouldn't have been a bit interested in your career since, would he? You were his vicar.
Yes. Hello, Vicar, where you been? And then I went further on, a little man or two, and he said, "Hello, Vicar, got any more children?" So I thought, I've had 4, it's enough. He said, "Don't you remember, I used to entertain the children." Now, that's 30 years ago. And I must say, well, I had a catch in my throat, you know, when people like that come up to you and call you by your own name, and I felt I was really come back home.
I should think it more than brought a catch to your throat, didn't it, really?
Well, I'm rather an emotional person, and, you know, step up a live is not my line. And I couldn't say anything at all. I was choked, because it brings back all sorts of people you've married, and it brings back all the past, and I've always wanted to live around there. So to come back home was quite a moving moment for me.
Yes, I mean, it's also, I know that at one stage with Alex, you found it difficult to sort of understand what was going on with God, didn't you? I mean, this is like him. It's as though he's saying, you know, you are my son. Look, I did have this lined up for you.
Well, I got a feeling, you know.
I mean, it's so perfect
you're
for you,
quite
isn't
right.
it,
I got a
really?
feeling.
Never mind about the bishop. You're my son.
Yes. And somebody, I sort of feeling that somebody said, well, no, George Reindorp's had a bit of bad.
Yes.
It's had a bit of good. And I thought it all happened on a glorious sunny day, you know. So it was like a present straight from God. And I was very moved. I don't know about you, but because in our job, very often, you know, you have to say to speak at a funeral or something like that. Now, quite clearly, if you break down, everybody else is going to be an absolute shambles. And I remember once saying to no less than the then Archbishop of Canterbury, who crowned the present Queen, I said, "You guys, how do you manage at these great occasions? How do you keep your emotions under control?" And he said, "Oh, I make an emotional withdrawal." So I said, "Well, terrible, so I can't do that." I'm speaking about a friend, perhaps one of my staff,
but you
whom
see,
I've
I'm
lost.
surprised that you say that it's quite so difficult, because my experience of the men that I know is that it's actually far more difficult for them to express emotion and certainly to cry. You know, I would have thought that, I mean, they might cry at a moment in a football match, or at a moment, you know, these great moments when there's great hugging, but the things that matter most to them Most men can't cry.
Well, they've been brought. I mean, the stiff upper lip is a sort of English tradition. It never used to be. You see, in Charles's reign, people, just like Winston Churchill, who would cry even at his own oratory. He was moved to tears. Would feel a bit ashamed. But now, everybody at school, you know, whatever happens, you've told your mother's dead, you mustn't cry. You mustn't. Women are allowed to cry. You look at a funeral. Where
women are encouraged to cry. You have a good old cry, dear. You'll feel much better.
And rightly so, because expressing grief gives enormous relief, as you know. And if you can just sit with somebody, saying nothing at all, just being with them, while they can release their emotions. But of course, a man very often feels that this is a sort of sign of weakness, which isn't at all.
Is that strictly true? That I might have agreed, you know, back in your lifetime. I mean, you know, in the past. But I would have thought nowadays that's not really the case still.
Well, I think it's probably the case for a lot of people whose parents are around the age of my parents. So we're probably talking more about people in the sort of middle section.
So I was going to say, it's as much being, you know, taught, if you like, how to laugh. It's got a lot to do with your parents. Yeah, I was going to say that my father has been a great dad and always had a great sense of humour, and you know, we've been through quite a bit together. But that means that I feel pretty normal. But I don't think there's any reason for me to go around crying on everyone's shoulder.
No, but I think what you were saying about moments of emotion. I mean, Hurricane Higgins wins the tournament, and having looked like death warmed up as he normally does, he suddenly sort of bursts into tears. And even old McEnroe, I noticed, wasn't far from tears.
But you see, I mean, I think this is one of the reasons why men tend to drink more than women. Because I think that they really need...
True?
Well,
Do they?
Do they not?
I don't think so.
I don't know. I mean, it's a kind of remark I would probably accept
Well,
without
take
thinking
that
about
up
it.
some other time and just think about why one drinks then, never mind that.
Yeah.
But I think that part of that is because it's... your emotions are then released, and that many people then, let's leave aside men, you know, many people need artificial means of releasing emotion because they just have lost the ability to do so.
It seems to be a great pity that we, as I say, we think it's a sign of weakness to cry, and I think it's a perfectly normal situation. But let's face it, that is not a popular idea.
Well, we all pick it up from our parents, don't we? I mean, my father expressed his love through money, I suppose, and through my mother. I mean, in the sense, what I mean is, I don't think there's lots...
Now, let's take a look at the weather forecast. The night will be dry and cooler than of late, with temperatures near 11 degrees centigrade by dawn. Tomorrow will be dry with some sunny periods, though it may become cloudy in the far west by evening. Maximum temperatures around 21 degrees centigrade and winds westerly force 2 to 4. That's the weather. Indeed, that's just about it for today. We're back on the air at 9:25 in the morning with our programme for children Holiday Time. TVAM begin their broadcasting at 6:25. So, on behalf of TVS, a very good night and a special good night from me. I'll leave you with a look at the clock. Don't forget to switch off, will you? Good night again.